live. I don't care.
I know, I'm pulling everything up here.
Woo! But Matrimony is live, episode 206.
Oh, wow.
Why have we been doing this for so long? Oh, that looks good. And you can't see my feet, and you can see the banner, and it looks relatively straight.
All right.
Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. This way?
Yeah. Sorry, we had
already this way. I had to crawl in.
Wait, but you're sitting down now.
Ay.
I'm trying to put it so I'm not like this.
Okay.
My elbow hurts.
My elbow hurts too.
I have a tear.
I have a tennis elbow. I have tennis elbow. I might have a tear.
You've never played tennis in your life.
It doesn't matter. All right, starting over. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. I'm awesome, and this is my husband.
Lame.
Somewhat Mr. Awesome.
This is awesome, and my husband lame.
Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Don't forget to always go up to that contest page because that's where the free stuff's at.
That's right, and don't forget, those of you over here on the YouTube, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button so you can get it. The more subscribers you get, the more traffic you get, the more free stuff we have to get back to you.
I mean, that's how it works.
We don't make money on this website.
Thank you so much for watching.
We do this strictly for love of movies and having fun doing it. But the more stuff we get from you guys, the more you guys get back.
And what you can see on the Facebook side are there's little doggy feet underneath our table. That is so cute. Thank you for watching us right now. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Pretty soon we'll figure out how to do Instagram and Twitter and all that junk, but we don't care right now.
We have to set up multiple cameras. And
I'm really into Facebook. I don't get Twitter. Like you're just sharing a little picture. And even so, the picture has to be this little tiny square. It cuts everything off. You can't link.
No. You click on the picture and it opens it up.
I guess, but it's just too much work. And the links don't really link the way I want them to. And it's just too. No, that's Instagram.
Instagram. It's like the Twitter links all work. Instagram works fine. It's just it doesn't have set links like that. And
isn't Twitter for nasty people too? Like, don't they do nasty?
Twitter, you can put anything you want on it. Yes, you can. I've heard.
Anyways, I don't get Instagram is the one I don't get.
Well, I have to deal with all of them for this nonsense.
I know.
So you can see who does all the work for this website.
Me. This was my idea.
Let me tell you what she does. This is her entire work for this website.
Okay.
You're looking at it right now. She does nothing else for the site but this.
Snacks.
She has snacks and sits there for an hour once a week, and then doesn't even look at the website beyond that.
I do sometimes.
She just shares stuff on Facebook.
You know what? You don't even know.
She doesn't read my reviews. She doesn't even know what I'm talking about half the time.
I know. I don't. All right, let's share this out to everyone.
I already shared it on my page.
So that people can come watch our show. We may fight.
This week has been, or this last couple of weeks have been really cool because I've gotten to do some, thankfully for all this Corona stuff, everybody has turned
been pretty good to us.
Yeah, well, everybody has turned to Zoom for all their stuff. So now there used to be Skype interviews and things like that, or then in person or whatever. But now everybody's really willing to do the Zoom thing. So I got to interview two people that I've interviewed in the past, but I've never got to see them face to face. And they're both like icons to me with Mark Dacascos and Ken Kazuki. It was really cool because I interviewed them from my home dojo.
That's so cool.
Which is even cooler too.
So cool.
We'll talk about that more probably next week or the week after when that movie comes out. I'll go through the whole stories about them. That movie's not out yet. So this week though, we have 4 things we're going to discuss. We've seen 3 of them together, and I saw one by myself.
Okay.
I was hoping to get you to watch the other one. We just ran out of time.
We did.
So what would you like to talk about first?
All right. Let's see. What do you want to do?
A Netflix movie. We have an upcoming documentary for On Demand.
Yeah.
We have 2 Blu-rays. One of them, a new DC animated feature, and then the other one, a Korean film.
Well, let's talk about the Korean film, because I feel like it's been hanging around the house for a while.
It has, because they sent me... first of all, it was a movie that was supposed to come out months ago.
Oh.
And it got held up because of the corona. Because it's a Korean film.
I feel bad because people are just seeing the dog's face. Here, you want one?
That's okay.
He caught it too.
So they see, you're doing a dog show now.
I said, come watch our show. We might fight. There's a cute dog, and we're going to talk about movies. So.
And you can see it on my side. You just see his head.
Oh my gosh!
Although he's blending in. Oh, you're on camera. You weak.
That's all right. Okay. That's
so anyway, we're going to talk about the Korean film A Dog's Courage. Let me grab my
Your
things
stands.
that you hate here. Move up here. All right.
I'm going to get you a room movie stand.
That's fine, but right now I'm working with what I got. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm trying to be professional here.
All right.
So we're going to talk about A Dog's Courage. It's a Korean animated feature. Why don't you tell everyone what it is about?
It's basically the story of this cute little dog named Jacob. And Jacob had a bad human who basically left him on the side of the road. And I think we've all seen that. And I don't understand that, first of all. But basically, he meets up with a little group of other dogs, and they go on an adventure. But this is what I understand about people. It's like, don't be a jerk. Just take the dog to the shelter and be like, I'm so sorry, I can no longer take care of this dog. They will take the dog.
You won't get in trouble for that. No. They'll be like, okay.
But
they actually will appreciate you for surrendering it safely.
I mean, there's tons of them. I mean, I've been looking at dogs lately just because.
That means something's going to burden me later.
August in Dallas is Clear the Shelters month. And so a lot of different animal shelters will do low-cost adoptions, or the city of Dallas was actually doing free adoptions, I think, this week or this coming week.
Yeah.
So
we're about a year out from the loss of her best friend.
Yeah. So I've been looking and thinking
it's
about
a cat,
it.
Not a person. But that's why she was looking at a dog.
Well,
get down.
Come over here. I believe Anya was someone I know.
Okay, we're not going to that conversation.
And I'm waiting for them to come back to me.
Here we go.
This is basically like Bailey. But there's so many dogs that they just get surrendered. Like, just do that. I mean, don't just leave
here's
the dog
the thing,
somewhere.
though. With
that
in
was
the story,
heartbreaking to me. The very first minute was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's like, and it tricks you because it makes it look like they're about to go have a fun adventure in the woods and play around, and then you realize what's happening. It's almost instant. It's not like a long drawn out thing.
Mm-mm.
It's like gets there and he lets the dog out, and you're like, and the guy even seems chipper.
Mm-mm.
And then you realize that what he's doing, you're like, But see, here's what I was surprised about is I felt that was going to be part of the main catalyst of the story of him trying to get back home.
Yes, me
and there's
too.
even like a flashback thing that I thought, okay, we're going to learn that maybe this guy's wife died and he was heartbroken and couldn't take, because the way it was set up, it looked like he just couldn't deal with that dog because they got the dog together. We learned none of that.
Mm-mm.
And it really isn't even important to the bigger picture of the story. It's just setting the tone of how he became by himself.
What we learned is the man's a jerk.
Yeah, he gets no redemption, which is fine. But it's really just the catalyst to explain how this dog ends up alone. And then it shows that in the area they're at, it's where it keeps happening.
Yeah. Well, and then it's interesting because what we learned from the little group of dogs is that they don't trust humans now. Because their humans just kind of kicked them out. And I'm like, that is so sad. Because they're supposed to be able to trust us. And, so that part of it's kind of sad. The adventure part's cute. And we have a crazy group of dogs. What's the little baby dog?
It looks like a
Bichon?
A Pomeranian.
Oh, Pomeranian. He's like this.
He's like the leader?
Yeah, the cute, sweet little dog. And he's the smallest dog, but he's like the leader. And he's got like this, everybody follow me voice. And
he has an ongoing argument with his tail.
His tail wags when he doesn't want it to. He's like, stop being happy back there.
Yeah, he's trying to be tough. And like he'll see something that's like food that's tasty, but he's not eating it because he's trying to show that he's a tough guy. But his tail's wagging because he wants it.
It's so ridiculous, and I love it.
But this movie reminded me of the old Disney movies. Like 101 Dalmatians and Lady and the Tramp and that kind of. It's not the same animation, obviously.
No.
But the whole vibe.
I liked the animation on this.
I did too. I didn't think I was going to.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because it was like, is this going to be too cartoony? But it wasn't. It was really good. And then you get some wild dogs, domesticated dogs, dogs that I guess have never had people, dogs that did have people. I mean, it's a whole.
But it felt old school. Some of the I'm not a huge Disney fan. And I like more of their more recent. I know it's shocking. No, I know. I'm not a fan of the princess era of Disney. I don't like Beauty and the Beast.
Princesses.
Yeah, I don't like Beauty and the Beast. I don't like Little Mermaid. I don't like any of those movies. I mean, they're not horribly bad.
Mermaid's okay.
I can watch them and they're fine and they're okay. I liked when they had all the anamorphic stuff. The Robin Hood, Great Mouse Detective.
And your favorite movie?
Fox and the Hound. Mm-hmm. So, and this felt like that kind of movie, Fox and the Hound too.
And also, too, you mentioned 101 Dalmatians. I like that we have that weird evil character that's trying to get the dogs. Yes, it's this crazy dog. He's crazy.
It's funny. They always make the dog catchers like this Satanist super villain, evil, degenerate.
Like, I'm gonna catch you, dog.
And it's like and to me, it's like we know that normal dog catchers aren't necessarily pure evil people. Well, most of them are. You know, a lot of them are trying to just get the dogs and try to get them adopted, and for the shelters.
This guy didn't.
But in this one, it's always seems to me like he's designed to be the metaphor of the people that hate animals.
Yes.
And so you're supposed to hate him.
Should not be working with animals ever.
Yeah, because like the first time we see him, it's a really cool chase scene of a dog and him on this motorcycle. But he's got a club and he's trying to hit this dog. And she goes, "Why is he trying to hit it? He's just trying to catch it."
Yeah, like where's the little net or something?
Yeah, a stick.
He was evil, and then I like that they do the classic evil where he has like bags under his eyes, and he's all like,
this is a guy who's been through some stuff.
Just like so stereotypical, but I loved it.
And the other thing is there's some elements to this film that while this is a family-friendly movie, it gets dark. Like there's moments that, again, made me think of old Disney when they would go kind of in dark places, even though it was a kid's film. Because
we're dealing with some issues here. I mean, there's
abandonment and love and loss.
And there's this one little dog that's sick, and that one was sad. That was just sad.
There's violence.
It talks about the puppy mills. It shows dogs in cages. It's It kind of took on a lot of social.
It really did. Stuff just through the eyes of these dogs.
It did, because even so, like. We have the different classes, and I feel like classes and races represented within the dogs, like your rich dogs and your poor dogs.
So I think that's where the Lady and the Tramp vibe came from, because you have them.
Jacob shows up, and all the little Yanga street dogs is like, oh, he's going to help us because he looks like a really nice dog that's been taken care of.
Fancy.
Yeah, so people are going to respond. So, they go to the bag for food, and they're like pushing Jacob to throat because he's a nice looking dog.
Yeah.
So.
My favorite moment is there's a whole thing with the dog food and the little runt thing that's the leader. After they take his food, they eat it and they go, "All right, we ate all your food now, so now you're gonna come with us." It's like you're a jerk, man.
These people are horrible.
They're plenty to share. They ate that whole bag.
Now, were any of these people voices we knew?
I honestly don't know. I didn't look it up. But we watched the English dub, but it's got the Korean dub in there too.
We should have watched it in Korean.
But
I want to go listen at least to a little sample of dogs talking Korean because that's so cute. I thought it was super cute.
It stars Do Kyung-soo, Park So-dam, Park Chul-min, Lee Jong-hyuk, and doesn't have anybody else in English.
Okay. Well,
the English people don't matter apparently.
Well, I think they do.
Yeah, no. So, but it's. The weird thing about the movie is it's longer for an animated film. It was almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these movies are about an hour and a half, hour 40. And it felt like it was over like 3 times.
Yes. That's why I told him, like, are we starting another adventure? I'm like, what's happening?
I had to stop the movie because we kind of timed it to watch it because I had to go do my interview. And we just had to pause the last 20 minutes because I'm like, this movie's never going to end.
I know. I kept feeling like, okay, great, we made it. But then it's like, now we're going to go here. I'm like, oh. I'm like, okay.
And there's some of that stuff could have easily been trimmed. It's not bad. It's still entertaining.
That's the dog hand.
Yeah, it's still entertaining, but it could have been trimmed up. And like that whole last sequence didn't really need to be there.
Yeah.
That they did.
I'm just going to give
but I think. What?
I'm giving it to the dog. I care.
Wow. But I believe the idea is to show how much they really wanted it and the dangers and the fighting and to kind of show that peace and so anyway, it's a great little movie. And not only is it coming out this week on Blu-ray and DVD from Wellgo USA, one of my favorite. Wellgo puts out on the martial arts flick, so they're one of my favorite distributors.
They seem to do a lot of Asian.
They do all Asian films.
Oh, okay.
They put out some American stuff here and there, but they're predominantly an Asian film distributor.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
But we're also giving copies of this movie away. So,
what?
Yes. And where do you get those copies?
I think you go to HollywoodMatrimony.com and then you follow the instructions on the contest page.
Do you want a copy?
Yeah.
You can have that one. And I have a few copies, so if you want to check it out, go to the page, enter the contest. It's a fun movie.
It is fun. I like it.
Again, it is one you can watch with the whole family.
Safe for the whole family.
It's not rated, but
no.
And when we say it's dark, it's nothing gory or scary per se. It's just heavy sometimes.
It deals with some issues. It deals with life. Okay, now there's a dog underneath us. Alrighty, there you go. So
he's like, Everybody's watching him just come under the curtain.
I know. Sorry, he's ruined it.
Just his butt sticking out.
Oh, Lord, this dog.
Anyway,
oh well.
We're still. Ever since we redid this room, we're still trying to find the perfect setup.
I'm okay with the setup now.
This setup's perfect for YouTube, but it's so far on the Facebook page. It's still a little weird looking. But if you're okay with it,
I'm okay with it. I don't care. I mean, we can set up some stuff
yours
in front.
Well, that's what I was thinking. We could do something like that. Maybe put Billy in the front or something.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anyway, all right.
The
so
dog
moving
will
on.
still mess with it.
So do you want to talk about the other Blu-ray? Do you want to talk about the documentary, or do you want to talk the Netflix film?
Let's talk about this documentary because it's actually
right.
really interesting.
So this, do you mean to leave the dog sitting
Yeah,
there?
why
All
not?
right, we're not talking about this movie now.
Oh, well then no, because this is a completely different topic. It's not appropriate
It
at
is
all.
not a kid's film that we're going to talk about next.
Oh, Lord. Okay, what is the actual full name of this thing?
The movie is called Skin, A History of Nudity in the Movies.
There you go.
It is a documentary about, obviously, nudity in film. It's executive produced by Jim McBride, a.k.a. Mr. Skin.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know about Mr. Skin, do you know about Mr. Skin's website?
I do.
Mr. Skin's website I don't want to say it's a porn site, even though it would be classified as that, because it's basically a compilation.
It's an informational site.
Well, it's a compilation of just nude scenes from movies.
But then it also tell you where to find, like at 2 minutes and whatever.
Yeah, that's all it is. Is the whole website is just you type in an actor or actress's name,
or a movie,
and then or the movie, and then you can find it. It tells you exactly. But the clips are there. It's a pay site, so it would be classified as a porn site technically.
I guess.
So knowing that information, I've been a fan of Mr. Skin, not from his site, but he's always been on Howard Stern.
Yeah.
And every year he does what's called the Skinatomy Awards.
Yeah.
And it's basically the award show of like best nude scene, best sex scenes of all the movies that came out that year.
Right.
So I always thought they were entertaining. Only reason I'm not on Mr. Skin is because I don't pay for websites, stuff like that. So I'll use the free ones.
You're so
anyway,
funny.
And I did get a chance to speak with Mr. Skin.
Yes,
interview him for this documentary. And I'm always weird on these kind of documentaries because
ooh, it's lightning out there. Sorry, there's just storm rolling.
Because there's with Mr. Skin involved in the name of the film, you know what you're getting. But I didn't expect what we got.
We thought we knew what we were getting.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be a compilation of kind of like he talks about when he does interviews and stuff about the show. It's showing these nude scenes and showing, hey, in this time they made this nude and it shipped this. And that information is there. But it's way more in depth than that.
It's an actual legit documentary about nudity in film, what it took to get nudity in film, the different ratings and how the rating systems have changed over time. It's actually really super interesting.
Leading all the way into the Me Too movement of this era.
Yeah.
And I super applaud them of diving into the male nudity stigma.
Yes, thank you.
Because that was one of the things that I didn't expect them really touch on. And of all people they deal with, it's Malcolm McDowell mostly.
Well, and I didn't realize he had so much nudity during his
and I believe he was technically the first male nudity that was not porn related.
Yeah, when he was young in that one.
Not Clockwork Orange, but the one before that.
The one before.
And it's interesting because it's a pretty straightforward setup of the documentary. It's got tons of the stars of these different movies, directors, producers, people from the ratings bureau. What is the new Hollywood position they have? It was ethics.
The ethics, some ethics council, whatever.
It's essentially someone on set to make sure when you shoot a nude or a sex scene that it's all on the up and up. It's all done in the professional way, and there is no issues with any of the actors, producers.
That you weren't duped into doing it.
Yeah.
Because now we're seeing back in like the 50s and 60s, or even later 70s and 80s, agents would be like, yeah, this person will do it. And so this lady may show up and set, and they're like,
Sean
okay.
Young, when and her were talking about it, Sean Young?
Yeah, that happened to her, but some other people too. Like, you show up on a set, and they're like, okay, take your clothes off. And she's like, oh, what? I never said that. Your agent signed off on it.
Well, what they said is they said, you signed the contract. But the agent who was supposed to read this stuff did not tell her it was in the contract. So now you're obligated to do it.
Yeah.
Or liable to get sued or fired or whatever.
Right, or if you have, and so now the ethics committee, whatever, make sure there's someone there and
I also
checks with them, like, did you know? Yes, you're cool. Okay, great.
And it goes all the way back to the very first black and white.
Yeah,
it talks about like the first time.
30s?
I think further than that.
I don't know.
But I think they were saying like Thomas Edison, who didn't actually create the camera, but he had the money behind it to be able to take credit for it. But they were like, the first film that actually went on film was a nude thing.
Yes.
So it was like, cinema started with nudity.
And it's funny because it would have been too over the top if the person had actually moved. So what they would do is basically it was like nude portraiture, where the lady would be undressed, but she would just be sitting there. Yeah, and it was just like a clip for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, because there was a whole stigma they were saying that it was like, if you don't move, it's art.
Exactly.
If you move, it's pornography.
Yeah, it's portraiture, basically. But yeah, if the lady was moving, then
nobody has
a
problem at a museum and see naked statues and naked photos of women. But if you look at a magazine that are making them sexual, then that's pornography.
Mm-hmm.
It's this very thin line.
And that's how they got through with, like, back then.
Yeah.
With saying, oh, it's okay.
And it's funny is how much more of a stigma male nudity was and kind of is. They were talking about in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and there's a sequence that they wanted. I think Amy Heckerling, I think is the director's name. She wanted. I don't remember if it was Judge Reinhold or her. Anyway, she wanted them to be naked in that scene, the male, and the woman is naked, and the ratings people are, no, he's not going to be naked. So it kind of became this shift that male nudity was used for humor, female nudity was used for sexuality.
Yeah. And that's not fair.
And female nudity was always okay. Male nudity was always no. And that's because it was old dudes.
Yeah.
Were running the thing. Yeah. And it was they put in charge a lot of these like Christian value censor people.
It's the double standard though.
It is.
And the other thing that's interesting though is even since kind of the beginning of Hollywood through now, the other reason is because you always have like this young girl with some leading man who's like twice her age. Well, of course nobody's going to want to see that because it's not real. What young girl's going to go with someone twice her age? Well, there are some. Yeah, and if you know someone that's like a rich older man, call me. But, I mean, I love you.
We're on a show called Hollywood Matrimony, and you just optioned yourself out of our marriage.
I would still take care of you.
Oh, that's fine then.
Yeah. Anyway.
No. You'll move out, right? I can just have the house by myself? As long as you're paying the bills, I'm fine with that. Okay, good.
No, but, it's interesting how there's not equality in the nudity, but, I mean, I think now we're seeing it more.
Well, and one of the things I mentioned to Mr. Skin when I talked to him was, I kind of told him, I kind of applaud them for making sure to touch base on the male nudity aspect. And
that's something I've always
that's something we've
about.
Always discussed. It's like, don't get me wrong, as a perverted man, of course I want to see naked women, but I'm always like, why the hell do we only see women? Like, you see it as sex scene. I don't necessarily want to see a man naked.
No, I know. But what makes you think I want to see a woman naked all the time?
You do.
Not necessarily.
But still, if you're going to show one in the film, why not show both? Or why not set... Given, I'm not a fan of just gratuitous nudity for no reason.
That's the other thing about it.
Unless it's a horror slasher film, because that's part of the rules.
It is rules. You get naked, you die.
That's right. But, like... I don't like gratuitous violence for no reason unless I'm in nudity the same way. Unless I'm going into a movie knowing that's what it is.
Yeah.
This movie is just about the blood and the boobs. Okay, I'm fine with that. Going
in. You told us.
But I don't like when you go into a movie and they show somebody changing just to show them nude.
Yeah, it's dumb.
And I'm like, there's so many ways that could have been done. But if you're going to do those things, okay, fine. It's got to be both ways. It's kind of the balance of the pay Me Too movement thing. It's the same as how you treat them on set, the different cultures, the different races, and not every, Mexican has to be a gangbanger, a drug dealer. Everything's got to be balanced across the border. It doesn't work.
Equality. Well, and then I thought that's why the Malcolm McDowell parts were really interesting. Because it happened to him too in that one movie where they're like, okay, you're going to be naked in the scene. And even though he had discussed with them that he was not going to be naked in this film, but they did it to him anyway. So he's like, he's just marching around nude for no reason. I'm like,
what I found, no sense. One of the things I really loved too about the film was it didn't ever seem to try to paint a light on anybody as being bad or good. It was just, here's the facts. And there's stories, like Malcolm McDowell talking about the director is offset. And it's like, okay, pound them harder. And kind of what's probably an inappropriate way of doing it. But it's also not, if you think about it, because if you think about a fight scene, They're like, okay, I need you to hit him harder. I need you to twist harder. Okay, well, this story is supposed to be a rape, or it's supposed to be aggressive sex, or whatever the case is. If they're not seeing what they need to see for that scene to work, they got to do that.
Yeah, it's just awkward.
But then you have stuff too that's like misinterpreted on film. So you take films like one of our favorite films is I Spit on Your Grave, one of the most controversial films of all time. Super tame by today's standards.
Yeah.
The remake of that movie is way more violent and aggressive than the original one in the 70s. I believe it's 70s. Yeah. But it's a movie, in my opinion, that's highly misinterpreted.
Yeah.
Because it's got a horrific rape sequence and violence, and this woman's left for dead.
It's rough.
But the ultimate aspect of that movie is this is about a woman empowered, rising up, fighting back, getting revenge, and showing that she is not just going to be a victim.
Yeah.
And that's what that movie's about, but people don't see that.
Yeah, people just stopped at the violence towards women. I'm like,
people see nudity, people see this woman beat up, and they talk about it in the movie. And I believe the main actress in the movie.
How many Spit on Your Graves are there?
Well, there's
Deja Vu.
Deja Vu is that
we
sequel
saw that
that
one.
it wasn't very good.
It was okay though. It was
that was a long drawn out one. Remember that?
Yeah, I know, but it was more up here in her head. We never really knew what happened. Really, I feel like. Because she was the one that went kind of nutso?
No. Deja Vu is the one that's the sequel where the original girl from the original movie and her daughter. It was not very good.
Mm-hmm. What is Vengeance?
Vengeance, we have them all. That's part of all the new series.
What is the 1959 version?
It's a whole different movie that we haven't seen.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I don't think it's the same.
Oh, no, not at all. Anyway,
but... I believe
I really like that
the main
series.
actress in the movie, she's in the interview thing, and she even talks about the empowerment of the film. But again, it is a hard movie to watch.
Yeah, it is.
And even if you see it now, it's like, if you watch it now and hear the stories of the controversy, you'd be like, why would they ban this film? But you have to remember it came out in 78, 79?
People were not there.
But it was a movie that came out, it was immediately banned as soon as it came out.
Yeah.
Pop quiz. Whose butt's on the cover of the poster?
Demi Moore.
High five.
You know why I think it was banned? I think it was banned by a group of men censors who didn't like the woman was getting revenge on the men.
Oh, I'm sure. I have no doubt.
Because she does some brutal stuff to them.
Yeah.
To their private areas.
I have no doubt.
And I bet it was the men that's like, oh, no, we can't show that. But the raping of a woman's okay.
Yeah.
But revenge is not. And that's so crazy because that's the other thing that we saw in that other... I think the Nomi documentary about showgirls. People are great if you're telling a story with violence, but if you're trying to tell the same story with sex or nudity, they're like, "Oh no, we can't do that." And it's the same thing. And that's the thing that I guess always frustrates me was that people are not just really digging into a movie; you're just sitting there.
Well, we live in a society that sex is bad.
But I mean, we dig into movies and we get the meaning.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We watch movies sometimes and we're just like...
Okay, that made no sense.
Or we just drool and watch it because I don't care. Like, there's certain movies that I'm not trying to dive into. I just want to watch and just turn my brain off and have a good time. I'm not looking for a hidden meaning in Transformers. I just want to see giant
robots in disguise.
I just want to see them come out of their disguise and destroy some shit.
That's actually about immigration and how we can't take newcomers. I mean, that's what it's about to me. We can't take illegal people in our countries.
But we like watching movies about witches that she grew up with.
Vampires, whatever.
Oh, I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, no. That was different.
Walter McCallum.
I mean.
But the whole movie is very interesting because it's more of a history of film than it is just nudity.
It really is. And I think that's what captured my interest because I was just like, okay, I'm going to watch this Mr. Skin thing. Well, see, is it about him?
Here's the thing it's not called Mr. Skin. It's just called Skin.
I know. It's not. No, I know, but I knew it was Skin.
We were going to watch it together. She was like, okay, whatever. So I had to get ready for the interview, which was a whole other funny thing because I had the wrong day for the interview. So I waited all day. Didn't plan anything. Looked at the clock and I'm like, okay, I got to get ready. I pulled up the email. I was like, okay, it's tomorrow. But so I had watched the movie late at night by myself. But as soon as I finished that movie, I emailed the link to her and I'm like, you need to watch this because this is a movie we're going to need to discuss. Mm-hmm.
It's so good. It really is. I mean,
and one of the things Mr. Skin asked
there's
me,
going to be nudity in the documentary.
well, and here's what's funny about that, and I brought this up to him. Making a movie about nudity, they still have to edit the movie's nudity down because of the rating system. You can't have too much, or
True.
it becomes an NC-17 or an X rating.
Which is crazy.
And it's funny because if you notice, the first decent part of the movie, there's not a lot of nudity.
It's a lot of interviews.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it kind of starts showing up, and then it's bikinis, and then it, here and there, and it's there's a tons of nudity in it, but they had to balance it. A movie about the history of nudity.
Yeah, you can't have too much nudity.
Yeah, but one of the things he asked me, or he mentioned, and I told him this thing happens, this is also the kind of movie that makes you want to search out these other movies.
Yes, like that. They made reference to I Spit on Your Grave, kind of took his story from some like French film from the 60s or something. So now it's like I gotta go find that movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch this again to
and
find out what it was.
It's funny too, is it's not, when I was a young person, seeing a movie like Showgirls, I only wanted to see that movie to see Elizabeth Berkley naked. Yeah. Because I'm like, oh my God, it's the girl from Saved by the Bell. I got to see this. And then as you get older, you change some of your perspective. And some of it's, I want to see this empowered female. Some of it's, you just want the comedy or whatever. But I also like how they dive into how certain things were made too. So like, one of my favorite parts of the whole movie is the story behind the Borat story.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
So there's the big guy that plays Borat's manager, and I don't remember his name. If you've never seen Borat, have you ever watched Borat?
Unfortunately.
That movie's hilarious. That's one of the funniest movies ever made.
I had to watch it with you.
Oh no, that's when we went to okay, she hates this movie for a different reason than I hate it. We went to a screening and we were not reviewing movies in, and we got to sit on the front row and you were pissed off the whole night. That's why you hate that movie so much.
Ken Devitian.
Yes. He plays Borat's manager, and they have a sequence in there
funny man.
Where they fight. Both of them fight butt-ass naked. And so he's in Skin telling the story of that, and that's not really how that was originally supposed to go down.
Not at all.
It just happened, and then it was a lot of spur of the moment. It became one of the funniest sequences to ever be shot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of the thing of how male nudity is always laughed at.
Yeah.
But I brought up to Mr. Skin about the discussions me and you have had about equality in the nude. If we're going to have one, we need to be having more of the other one. And to my surprise, he said, well, it's actually more balanced than you may think now.
Okay.
He says, whereas you may have, I don't remember if this is exactly the number, but he's like 400 and something female nude scenes. There was 400 and something male nude scenes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He says it's very close now.
Okay.
It's obviously depending on the movie you see. And the problem is the ones that are showing the male nudity may not be some of the mainstream ones that we all see.
Yeah.
And I made a joke about the Righteous Gemstones, which was the John Goodman, Danny McBride series.
Where there was a penis in every episode?
Yeah, on HBO, and there was a penis every shot. I said, that show alone is trying to fill the gap. And he laughed. He goes, yeah, absolutely.
It's so funny.
But it is a great documentary, even if you don't care about nudity in films.
No, but it's interesting just to see the history of how it's evolved, the rating systems, and how that's changed. How Me Too has helped this. What are they called? It's like I don't know. It's a board.
Look at the toy.
I know. But, I mean, it
looks like we have a cow underneath
it. It has started to create some safeguards for making sure those kinds of things don't happen. So, I mean, it's actually really interesting. And how it's affected people's careers.
And it also delves into the selling of films. Like Kevin Smith is in it talking about trying to sell Zack and Mary Make a Porno, and how they're like, you can't put that on a billboard. So a lot of the releases came out.
Zack and Mary.
Yeah, and he's like, that tells you nothing. Like the copy I have, I think says Zack and Mary on it. Yeah. I don't think it says Make a Porno. And if you bought it at Walmart, that's the one you got. Yeah. If you went to Best Buy, you could get the one that said Make a Porno. It was really weird.
And it's crazy. He's like, okay, I'm just trying to make a funny movie, but okay.
And of course he had actual porn stars in it.
Yeah.
One of them being the infamous Tracy Lords, who was a minor when she was in porn. She had lied and did tons of porn films as a minor, and people were essentially watching a minor in porn, not knowing it because they didn't do it on purpose. She lied at what her age and stuff. So anyways,
it's really interesting. You should check it out. It's called
Yes, definitely.
Skin.
It's really good. And stay through the credits if you watch it. Did you sit through all those?
I think so, yeah.
Or there's some like just different, longer versions of the stories.
Yeah,
and
it's funny.
He said they tried to cut in as much as they can, but there was some people, there was 3 to 4 hours of footage. He goes, Malcolm McDowell was probably the best one because he would just start telling stories.
That's funny.
And every story was better than the next.
That's so funny.
So check it out, and hopefully I'll have the Mr. Skin interview up about it this week as well on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
Good. Moving on.
Next, now tell us about the
and the movie will be available on demand on Tuesday.
Okay, there you go.
What do you mean to tell you about? Oh,
the one you watched.
All right, let me pull my
Is
thing
it
back
here?
out.
It is.
My shelf thing. That was a weird segue from what we just talked about.
Yeah.
All right, so Corona.
Wow.
DC has been, they've struggled a little bit with their live action films.
Yeah.
But they've been killing it on
their animated feature game.
The animated game and their TV series game seems to be on point. Even if you don't like all of it, all the animated features seem to be better than the next.
They're all good.
They also have something called the CW Seed, which is on their website.
Mm-hmm.
And on their website they put outside of like episodes of the shows, they also have like mini web series.
Yeah.
So they did Vixen, they did Freedom Fighters, The Ray. I forgot what the other one was. Those two were actually directly connected with Arrow and the Flash, and had the same cast members voicing their characters. And then they've always released them all as a film.
Yeah.
So they've done that again. This time it's a standalone project. One I was very excited for. I started watching when it first hit the seed, but then I was having bad connection the day I was trying to watch it, and then I forgot. Never went back and finished it. But its latest is called Deathstroke, Knights and Dragons. It's the latest DC animated feature. I know you can't see it really well, but there it is. DC animated feature. It, like I said, it's part of the CWC mini web series. It's compiled together to make a feature film.
Love it.
Unlike a lot of the other ones, this is not connected to the CW Arrowverse. It is also not directly connected, at least not noticeably, to the rest of the animated features like they do a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the Justice League, Batman, Teen Titans, all that stuff is kind of one universe, so the movies are putting out.
Yeah.
Then they put a bunch of random. This one seems to be more on its own. This doesn't have any guest appearances by any of the other heroes. It's very straightforward Deathstroke. And it takes some liberties with the storylines because it is a storyline of Jericho, his son, and I know you don't know anything about this.
All I know Jericho is Paul's Jericho.
Okay, no. So it's following his son, and you get a little bit of origins of Deathstroke, and of course Bronze Tiger is here, and Shiva, and people like that. So it wastes no time to let you know that this is not a PG film. He goes right in and he's slicing and dicing, and blood is flowing.
Is there the F-bombs?
I believe it's I don't know if it's rated R or PG. It's rated R.
Okay.
It is rated R for strong bloody violence throughout, brief language, sexuality, and partial nudity. It showed Deathstroke's butt while he was having relations with his woman.
Oh, goodness.
It's actually an aerial shot of him on top of her.
No, there's nudity in the cartoon movie.
But yeah, it jumps right in with him just cutting up some people in dismemberments and blood. I'm like, hell's yeah, I'm all in now. So I am a huge, huge, huge fan of Deathstroke.
I know you
He is probably one of my favorite DC characters of all time. In the comics, they make him a villain 90% of the time.
Yeah.
He was a villain when he kind of paid out. He's really a paid assassin.
Well, that's different.
Yeah,
he just works for hire.
His primary people were, back in the day, he was first introduced in Teen Titans, and that was the story of Jericho and all that kind of crap. The story's completely different than that whole idea. It's a different take on it, but it is still kind of using the family situation, the assassin world, all that kind of stuff. And Frenchie's a little bit different, and I think they made him African American instead of French.
Oh, that's weird.
He might still be French. I don't know. I don't remember, but he doesn't look like he did in Deathstroke the Terminator the series, which I loved. So anyway, but it's really, really good. I loved it. It's got great animation. It's got some awesome fights and action sequences, and people getting shot and slashed and killed and bloodied, and then you get some heartfelt moments between him and his woman and the kids, and people turning on each other, and
they always do.
So much intrigue.
Can't trust these people.
If you like any of the DC animated features, then this will be yet another one that's awesome. I hope we get more Deathstroke. I have a feeling when this went into production, there was supposed to be a Deathstroke movie. And Deathstroke was also supposed to show up in the Batman movie that Ben Affleck was doing. But that movie doesn't happen now. Because if you remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, but at the end of Justice League, there is is it Justice League? I don't remember if it's Justice League or Batman and Superman. But anyway, at the end of one of those movies, there's a Easter egg sequence, and Deathstroke shows up. And it's played by Joe Magliano, who looked badass as Deathstroke.
Yeah, he does.
Don't get me wrong.
I still like the Crixus guy.
I liked him as Deathstroke, even though it wasn't quite the way I wanted to. But Joe Magliano looked more like Deathstroke the way he's supposed to. Deathstroke is also in the Titan series on DC Universe, played by oh my God, what is the guy's name?
I don't know.
Hispanic actor.
What am I looking for? Titans?
La Bamba's brother in that movie. Isai Morales. He plays Deathstroke on Titans.
La Bamba's brother.
I was trying to break down the movie.
La Bamba's brother. Boop.
I was breaking down the movie.
I love it.
Because my go-to is Jimmy Smits, and it wasn't Jimmy Smits. And then I was trying to think of like Blood In, Blood Out.
You know, I love me some Jimmy Smits.
I know. But anyway, and Isai Morales does an awesome job as Deathstroke.
I love him.
He's really good as Deathstroke, even though Deathstroke is not Hispanic. He was really good in the role.
He should be.
Well, he was really good in the role. But anyway, this new animated feature is awesome. I loved it. It gives me all the Deathstroke I wanted. I'm hoping we get to see more Deathstroke stuff, but who knows what'll happen. And it'll be available also, I believe, on Tuesday from Warner Brothers and DC Comics. These, although I will say these, the ones based on these CWC, they don't come with a ton of bonus features like the other ones do.
It's just like the thing all.
Yeah, because it has like a featurette and that kind of thing. But the other ones always come with like a preview of the next animated feature and all this. These are a little more streamlined. But it does have the digital code, so you can still watch it. It's on our Movies Anywhere. So anyway, but check it out. I love it.
I will check it out. There you go.
So moving on. We have one final thing to discuss.
Now I'm looking up Jimmy Smits.
Would you stop looking up Jimmy Smits right now?
Okay. I posted a link to
the last one is yet another superhero-esque.
Yeah. I didn't even understand what this was about, which I'm glad.
I knew what it was about, but I didn't know how they were going to execute the whole thing.
Yeah. And this is an interesting lineup to me with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Jamie Foxx in the movie Power.
No, Project Power.
Project Power.
Power is a TV show.
Power is a TV show. Is that the 50 Cent?
50 Cent made that one, yeah.
This is interesting. And now that you've mentioned this before about movie posters, I'm starting to notice it all the time. Can you please line up the names over the actor's head?
That drives me nuts.
Like now it says Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's name is on top of Jamie Foxx and some other person's name's on top of Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Dominic Fishback, who's the other star of the film.
I mean, I get it. They're putting in order of the cast. Like Jamie Foxx is obviously number one, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
See, and that's my problem. If your name is on the marquee, you're already kind of number one, so it shouldn't matter which order it's in.
And I wonder if this is an agreement in your contract. Like, I want top billing. It needs to be.
Well, sometimes I think it is, but I also think it has to do with because you hear so many stories of filmmakers being upset when they see the promotion material come out. And
that's true too.
You know, like when Winter Soldier came out.
Yeah.
He was so upset. The director Russos were kind of complaining about the fact that you put Winter Soldier on a poster, a solo poster, because then everybody knew it was Sebastian Stan and who was Bucky and.
Except me.
I know, because I kept you away from it.
Yes.
I blocked you from when we saw it. Well, that's the same
thing. Like when Arnold Schwarzenegger started calling, he's like, "You're giving away the whole movie."
Yeah, he was upset when they did the last, not the last Terminator,
the
but
one
before that. That in the trailer, it already given up to John Connor as being a bad guy and all the different stuff that happened.
He's like, "No, you can't do that."
And he tried to save it with this new one, and then the audience just didn't buy into it. I love the last one.
I like all of them.
I do too, but they have the third one. Rise of Machines is kind of in, but it's.
So and the other documentary did talk about her and his nude scene too.
Yeah.
And like, how come all you saw was Arnold's butt, but you want to see all of me?
Well, and what's funny, going back to that, since you brought it up, I found it. I like that her statement about Christina Loken, who plays the female Terminator. In Rise of Machines, she talks about when she got hired and they said, you're going to play a Terminator, she already knew she has to be nude because there's already been groundwork set.
Yeah, for
when the Terminators show up, they are naked. So she's like, there's no real room to argue that point for this because
that's how it is.
That's part of the story, the mythology. Yeah. And you can't complain that it's a female thing because it was started by men in 2 films of a naked Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
and a naked Michael Biehn.
Arnold Schwarzenegger had a nice booty. He had some muscular cheekies.
Musculature.
Well, I mean, he was also bodybuilding champion, whatever.
That's what George
Musculature.
says. Musculature.
Anyways, let's talk about Project Power.
Project Power is a Netflix exclusive film.
It is on Netflix now.
Yes.
So go watch it after this.
Why don't you tell us what the story is about?
Basically, what it is that you can take these little power pills, and it gives everyone superhero powers, but it only lasts for 5 minutes.
And you don't know what your power is.
And you don't know what your power is going to be. Your power could be something stupid that could actually kill you.
Yeah. But once you get that power, then you get the same power every time after that.
Yes, once you discover what your power is. And it's interesting because at one point in the beginning of the movie, he's like, are you sure you want to take that pill, kid? You could just explode. And I was like, that's a dumb power, but who knows?
That's the whole thing is these people don't have superpowers. This thing gives them something, so that kind of showcases it. So it's kind of playing up to the drug addiction mentality and how
know what you're gonna get.
Certain things can help you, but also how things can really, like there's one character whose ability is fire, but he is, after he's on fire, he's scarred like he was on fire.
Yeah, which that's kind of a dumb power. I wouldn't do that twice.
And it's not, who was played by Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, really?
Even though he's only in the movie for like 5 minutes.
All I saw was a fire ball.
But yeah, it was, which I found super intriguing about, okay, it's not like the Human Torch who turns his flames on and off and then he's just like, everything's fine.
I'm a Human Torch. Sorry.
This guy is disfigured now because of using these powers.
Yeah,
he's still willing
so he
to do
has to hide out with a hoodie and a seclusion now. Well, and then so I think every power imaginable is possible. So that's the interesting thing here is we have a world of possibilities.
Yeah.
So I feel like we could tackle some different stories even, because surely this is expanded beyond this one little city or environment.
Yeah.
We don't know.
What's interesting about the way the movie is designed is it's not a superhero flick. It's a gritty cop action flick.
Drama?
Yeah.
Even?
With superhero powers just happen to be involved.
Yeah, but I feel like also the power, here I go, digging deep into the movie.
Here we go. Here
I go again. If you dig into it, I feel like the power pill and the do we know that Joseph Gordon-Levitt does? Do we know in the
I don't think it really says.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, so I feel like it's really about everybody trying to really find themselves and who they are and how they fit in. Because you got characters who are supposed to be good guys and bad guys, but they're not really. It's really they have both those elements working in their lives, and they're just trying to find the right way
there's an element that they could have really made this guy legitimately bad, and they made this other person who could have just had a problem. And the reality of it is, this person thinks they need to do it because the only way they can fight back. This other person is doing this for a completely different motive, but everybody assumes
one
something
thing.
else.
And I think that's the other thing I liked about this movie is that it's really bringing to light the biases we have about people, because you see someone and you assume something. And especially with these powers, you're like, oh, and you automatically assume, well, he's a good guy, or he's a bad guy. But these people have no control over these powers. It just happens. And then when you find out there are some good guys and some bad guys, you're like, what? And I like at the center of things, there's always some evil government involvement.
Right.
I'm just going to throw that there. You don't even, it's so twisty-turny, but I'm just saying.
I really dug this movie. And I read some people talking about how they kind of thought it was good, but it could have been better. And there's a moment where there's this big fight scene happening, but it's being shot from the perspective of a girl who has like ice powers, and she's in this containment thing. It's not really a spoiler. So you're seeing what she sees because she's freezing and freaking out, and so the glass is kind of frosted.
Really interesting.
I was like, that's a cool way of shooting. And I was reading another reviewer was like, well, it's just this fight going. You can't even hardly see it. It was so wasted because they shoot it through this. And I'm like, you had totally missed the point of what is happening in that scene. Mm-hmm. That was not what was important or what was going on. It was her thing.
It was this girl's perspective and trying to like, hey, help me, hello, I'm over here. And there's all this other stuff. Yeah. So then could that also be how we are in life? Yeah. I mean, you know, people, and I think that's what we do. We sometimes ignore people who are like, hey, I'm over here, I need help or whatever, but you're so busy doing your thing. Yeah. And so I thought it was multi-layer, and you could see the fight scene.
I thought it looked fine.
I liked it. I was like, oh, we're staying in here. Because, you know, you always expect the camera to switch. You're like, oh, we're just staying with this. And it was actually very kind of emotional because you're dealing with this lady and what she's going through while this whole other thing. I thought it was layered, and I thought it was really good.
It was. And I was really impressed with the effects. Like, I shouldn't be as impressed about special effects anymore. Because of everything we have, but I think it's still the idea of seeing a film on Netflix or on Amazon.
No, but this was good.
And so your mentality, or my mentality, still goes to, okay, we have the TV movie version, but I got to remember that a lot of these movies were made to be feature films with a budget.
Yeah.
And this one is one of those. Every effect, with the exception of there's one moment closer to the end, it's a little cheese, but it's not a bad effect. It's the character power they use.
They computered that, but that's fine.
But the dude on fire is amazing looking.
At first, when the guy first goes on fire, I'm thinking that was a real guy, like being lit. Fire thing. And then the rest of it has gone into CGI.
You know, and seeing some of the other stuff that they did, and they'll do some slow motion stuff. And there's one cool chase sequence where this guy's powers like are constantly. I feel bad for the effects guys because that had to be a pain in the ass.
When I was trying to see
bank scene,
yes, and I was trying to see
guys running through the city, and they're having to like constantly alter things and change things.
Well, and this is going to sound bizarre, but maybe it goes with our Mr. Skin thing. Is like I was trying to see, was he naked? Like, is that how it takes effect?
I looked too.
Because then I was like, you know.
And I also want to say one of the things we always get annoyed by are the little details, and I applaud them too. They make mention of it, but they stick pretty good to the 5-minute mentality.
They do, because there's one character that's like takes the pill, boop, 5 minutes, go.
Yeah, and then
thank you, Minnie Mouse. She talked to me. I hit the watch.
So it was good about like that. There was another movie, I forgot what it was now, where the lady took off her shoes and put on tennis shoes because she was going to run, and we're like, thank you.
Yeah, you know, just random things. Well, and even little things like there's one girl, like she has the backpack and she's supposed to go to the store. And that's like the running gag through the entire movie, but it actually comes to fruition at the end.
Yeah, and you forget all about it until the very end of the movie.
And you're like,
and
what?
Then it becomes one of the most
and
emotional.
You're actually like, what is that? I'm like, remember?
Well, and I don't think I heard him say it was the problem, but it becomes one of the most emotional scenes of the movie, all based on that one throwaway line.
Yeah, and it's a very smart movie. And I liked this girl that was in it. What's her name? Dominique Fishback. She's really good in that.
She's in
so
The Hate You Give and some other stuff.
I liked her. She's so good. I just liked her whole
Everybody
vibe.
in the cast is really good. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt as like a...
I love him anyway.
I do too. I've always thought he's a great actor, but like in this one, he's a little buffer. Mm-hmm. He's got a gritty tone. He grew a little bit of facial hair. I think he would be good as like in a cop flick, action type flicks.
I think
Jimmy Foxwood, is always good. Yeah. And he's good here, and everybody...
He just shows up, and he's awesome.
So. Yeah, pretty much.
But I do love me some Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I really like that movie, the one with the cancer, in Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
That was such a good...
50,
he was
50?
So good in that movie.
50?
He was good in that, too. Bader,
Bader,
don't lick yourself on front of the camera.
Man.
Cochino. Anyway, Project Power, so good. It's on Netflix. You need to watch it. Yes, it's kind of about superhero powers, but it's about more. It's about family and love and loss and good and bad and just doing what's right.
And it's got some great action.
Yeah, there you go.
Got some shootouts and superpowers. Had way more superpower stuff than I thought it was going to have.
It did.
I thought it was going to be like a few here and there. And kinda, but they really went in.
It was interesting. So there you go.
So the other thing that since we haven't been doing as many episodes of our TV Tuesday, like at all.
Yeah.
We've decided that we're going to throw some of them in here really fast. Do you have anything that you want to talk about real quick?
Well.
Or did you even have anything planned today?
I didn't, but I can look some stuff up.
Oh, we don't have time for you to look stuff up. Do you have anything or do you not? 1, 2, 3, go.
The season finale of World of Dance was this week.
Oh, God.
I love World of Dance. I love Jennifer Lopez. And I thought this season was really good. It's interesting because I've always, during this time period, I'm like, how did they get around COVID? It's interesting that all the way up until their very last episode is when it actually affected them, since they filmed it so early in the year.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning, it comes up with a special announcement from Jennifer Lopez, and she's like, due to the COVID pandemic, she goes, you'll notice in this last episode, there was no live audience. She goes, the only ones allowed were the competitors and their family. And she goes, so it's just interesting. Anyway, the season finale happened. I'm not going to tell you who won, but you need to go check out World of Dance. I still think the team from India from last year has been the best ever in the whole entire world.
Nobody cares. All right.
I care.
I have two we're going to talk about. One of me and you're going to talk about together, even though you only saw part of it. But they threw out the first two seasons of Final Space. If you've never seen this show, it is awesome. It's an animated Star Trek-ish type series. This is the one I was telling you about. It's very similar to the new Star Trek series, Lower Decks, which is awesome. I've heard some people say they didn't like it. They're wrong. It's awesome. But Final Space, this first two seasons, it's kind of a space adventure thing about this guy who's, he's stuck on this ship with all these crazy cast of characters. And then the second season gets a little more. So if you haven't checked out Final Space, check it out. It was a TBS original series, and it does have a season 3 coming. I really, really dug it. It's a great show. But the one I wanted to talk to you about was this week we have one of the newest additions to the CW Arrowverse, as it's known, coming to the Blu-ray and DVD in Batwoman, which is also probably the most controversial of the shows because of the sexuality of the character, because it's not Batman, and because the lead has already left the show after the first season.
That, which, by the way, crazy. What kind of upheaval is this? Oh,
well, here's the thing, is she got hurt really, really bad when they were shooting the show. And
it's too bad.
Early on, and to the point to where, like, she was in the hospital. I think she had to have surgery, hurt her back, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
So she came out recently, no pun intended. She came out recently and I think said that she went back to work too soon.
Yeah.
And shooting a show like this is action heavy, and I think it just became too much for her, and she decided she had to walk away from it. And I think she even admitted that she was not a pleasant person to work with because of all of it. And so I think they all kind of decided to part ways to be betterment for the show. We'll see how much it hurts the show. They've already recast it, but they are not recasting her. They're bringing in a different character. So I think that's something that's going to piss off the fans, because it's not a character that exists in the comic.
Oh, Lord.
This is a new character. But it's a smart decision because they can bring her back. So, and they've cast an African-American woman. So it's a whole different vibe. My part,
Lord. Who knows?
The recasting aspect could potentially solve one of the things I despise about this season. So, you didn't watch the whole series.
I didn't.
Did you give up on it, or you just were watching them and just never got back to it?
Well, I got to the point where the crossover was happening.
Okay.
And
you waited because you hadn't caught up on all the other shows.
I am like a season and a half behind on all the others. So now that they're coming in, I can start picking this back up.
Here's what I think you should probably do: I think you should probably just watch the crossover.
Okay.
I can explain the things that you won't understand, and then you can catch up on the shows later.
Fine.
Because the crossover is pretty badass.
Fine.
So what was your issues with the show? We won't go into a long thing about it.
I think her look was the first issue.
Which look?
This whole bad wig.
That's how she looks in the comic.
Okay, well,
that's exactly the comic.
But didn't the girl have actual red hair in the comic?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I love the look in this show. I thought it was badass. I was like, to me, this is the most comic accurate look of any of the CW shows.
I was getting confused by the storyline of the villain, but she's not treating her as a villain because she knows her, and it's like that just kept being like the reoccurring thing.
I hated.
What are we doing with this character?
The Alice character, which is the main.
I like the lady.
She's a fine actress, but the character felt more like and I wrote this in my review, as a one-episode story.
Yeah, or like just a quick little arc.
Yeah, or maybe like 2 or 3 episodes. It might circle back 5 or 6 episodes later, kind of thing. But it was an ongoing thing that felt like it was being thrust down my throat to say you got to buy into this story and you got to buy this and this is what's going to happen.
It just kept coming up,
and it kept
and
going.
they're like, get rid of her, and get rid of her.
Got rid of her,
come on.
And then they found a way. So what you didn't see, they not only got rid of her, they found a way to bring her back as a different version of her, which I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. This is actually better. Only to change it back to the other version again, which irritated me. But it all became a catalyst to introduce the character Hush, which is not supposed to be in Batwoman. It's supposed to be Batman, but the entire Arrowverse is built on Batman stories without Batman.
Yeah. What I did enjoy was the kind of weird love triangle thing with her and the other lady.
Oh, the police officer?
Yeah, her former, whoever, who is now getting married, I believe, to a man. So that, I did like that aspect of the show. And I liked that we were dealing with an openly gay character, I guess.
And she's openly gay in the comic.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought so many was funny.
And the actress is as well, right?
Ruby Rose is openly gay. And it's funny.
I like that we were bringing something new
I love
to
Ruby
it.
Rose.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
And I know there's some people that think she can't act or whatever. I liked her in Orange is the New Black, which is the first thing I ever saw her in. I've loved her in, one of the Resident Evil movies, I think it was, and Triple X. And, so I dig her. So I was super excited when she got cast in this role, which is one of the reasons I'm a little bummed out from the show. Even though the show wasn't as strong as I had hoped it would be initially, I thought she was great in the role. But it was always funny to me is how many people took temper tantrums about being a gay character. Oh my God, they're forcing more gay stuff down our throat. I'm like the character is gay in the comic. This is not.
Like, come on, people.
There's even a story, one episode called Coming Out or something. It's about a young girl who is kind of in the closet that she helps and kind of uses that story of like a villain and this and that. But they use it as dealing with how to come out to people and dealing with being exposed. And it was a very smart episode, I thought. Yeah. It was one of the better ones. Cool. Anyway, but Batwoman, the complete first season, hits this week on Tuesday.
There you go.
So you can check it out. All right. What you got, sister? Or is it my turn?
I guess it's
it's my turn, isn't it? All right. So as I already told you.
That was still yours, but whatever.
Do what?
That was you talking, and then you're talking, but whatever.
That's okay. This was going to be short, so just calm it down, sister.
All right.
This week, again, is not a big release day. We've got the Deathstroke movie we just talked about. We got the Batwoman TV series we just talked about are both coming out this Tuesday. MVD is releasing Flash Gordon on 4K.
Flash.
And Pitch Black, the very first of the Riddick films, on 4K as well. There's also a movie called...
I liked all those.
I'm not as big a fan of the Chronicles of Riddick, but I do enjoy it. I love Riddick and I love Pitch Black. The Chronicle of Riddick is fine.
I like
that's kind of... Anyway, okay. And The Outpost starring... Scott Eastwood and what is that guy's name? The one from Pirates of the Caribbean that's with Katy Perry. What's his name?
Don't tell me.
I'm not going to because I don't know.
Legolas.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but they're having a baby.
Orlando Bloom.
It's
a movie we'll talk about next week. It's like a war flick. We already have a copy called The Outpost that's coming out. And I think that's Gamera. The complete collection is coming out from MVD, so it's a cool box set. They send me the individual discs, which drives me crazy because I wanted to be able to review because it comes with like a little mini hardcover graphic novel and all kinds of stuff. And I wanted to review the whole thing, but they didn't send me that, so I'm like,
that's okay.
Whatever. It is what it is. I can't complain about free stuff they didn't send me, but I'm going to anyway. And I think that's it. Everything else is just a bunch of random stuff.
All right. There's a lot of stuff happening over here. So
we have this one.
I know. There are movies coming out on Tuesday release.
That's when they always come out. Blu-rays and DVDs are always Tuesday release.
I know, but now because we can do video on demand and digital, so now there's a movie called Clown Face. It's about some crazy kid that's wearing a clown face, but it's made out of actual people faces. I
think I have a copy of that.
So we'll see how that goes. The Barge People, which we do have a copy of, we're going to watch it.
Excuse me.
This is about people on a little vacation and then some mutant creature trying to get them out of the water. Something called Pre-Binge. This seems a little far-fetched. It's a lady who's pregnant, but her baby's evil and it's talking to her and telling her to kill people.
It sounds like all children.
And then this one looks really interesting. It's called Enter the Forbidden City. It's about an opera singer in China who gets banned for being too vulgar or sexual. And all of those are available on video on demand or digital on Tuesday.
Nice.
Then Friday, I'm looking forward to this movie, Unhinged, starring Russell Crowe. And it's the one where he's the road rage guy.
And it is getting a limited theatrical release. So some of the theaters are officially going to be opening this week.
Mm-hmm.
I believe some of them are starting. I know AMC is going to be opening on the 20th, which is Thursday.
Yeah.
And they're doing 15-cent movies of like classic films, not new release stuff.
Let's go.
So Unhinged is going to be one of the first movies to get hit back in the theaters.
Yeah. I'm kind of ready to go to
We'll be talking about Unhinged next week.
Don't know. Then on Disney Plus, this is the one and only Ivan. It's about the big silverback gorilla. So that's going to be really good. It has Sam Rockwell and some other people. Isn't that the one where he's painting? Or is that a different one?
Yeah,
okay, so
Bryan
watch
Cranston
that.
And Sam Rockwell. Yeah.
There you go. This is limited release. It's called Hard Kill. It's a Bruce Willis. I'm assuming it's one of those straight.
It's another one that's probably Bruce Willis shows up for 5 minutes and who knows.
Okay, these are all limited.
Most of those are old movies too.
Yeah, that are coming back out. Hold on.
Train to Busan presents I Can't Wait.
Yeah, video on demand and digital. Train to Busan presents Peninsula. What is this Peninsula about?
Okay, so Train to Busan
I remember
is a zombie flick on a train.
On a train.
And you haven't watched it yet. It's a Korean movie.
Yes.
It is awesome.
You told me about
We have it. We're going to watch it before I watch the new one. The new one is kind of like, I guess, after the thing is happened.
It's the soldier who previously escaped that diseased train or whatever.
So it's a continuation of the world's now been infected by all the zombie stuff.
Well, hey, the world's been infected right now. So Train to Busan Peninsula.
So I'm excited to watch that one.
Then we have something on video on demand and digital called Stage Mother. I think that tells you all you need to know, but it's got Lucy Liu, so who knows? Premium video on demand, Love Express, the disappearance of Walier Borowskis.
Olympia Dukakis.
Yes, Walerian Borowskis.
Who cares? Valerian?
Valerian. I liked that movie. No one else did.
I thought Valerian was a beautiful film.
That girl is pretty.
I thought that movie was beautiful to look at. I thought it was a decent movie with a big missed opportunity. Mm-hmm. But I've watched it numerous times because it's amazing to look at.
It is beautiful. And then lastly on video, on demand and digital, American Street Kid.
What about the Burnt Orange Heresy starring Mick Jagger?
Well, that's just limited release that we may not be able to find.
I think they're sending me a copy of it.
There you go.
Anyway.
That's all. There's a lot coming out. I'm excited about the possibilities of people returning to theaters.
Yeah, so...
I mean, I think it's a little scary, but...
I'm going to tell you this now, and I don't know if you're going to be able to go with me because I'm going to probably do it during the day.
Mm.
I am planning to go to the movies on Thursday.
Are you?
To go see Empire Strikes Back for 15 cents on the big screen.
I think you should.
I can't go at night when my buddies are going to go, but I'm going to go during the day if I can. But again, AMC is only charging 15 cents, and the reason they're charging 15 cents is because 100 years ago, when they very first opened their theaters, that's how much it cost to get in, and so it's kind of a promotion of returning to the theater for the first time in 4 months, whatever it is. They're treating it like it's the first day they've opened.
It's awesome. But no cash, please.
I don't know if they're taking cash at all yet.
They probably won't.
But yeah, they have a bunch of guidelines set. That's the other reason I kind of want to go during the day is because now people are back in school, so you're not going to have a ton of kids and things like this. I want to kind of see how they're setting everything up, how well they're actually taking care of it.
Social distancing.
You have to wear the mask in the theater. The only time you don't wear it is if you're trying to eat your popcorn or something. But I think you have to. Yeah, if you're not eating, you have to have your mask on.
That's great.
They're only selling, I think, 30% capacity to each screen.
Perfect.
So and I think they're going to probably, I'm assuming they'll have
seats blocked.
Well, everything's assigned seating now, so they're probably.
That's true. So you pick it ahead of time.
So you can have seats next to the people you come with, but you can only, and I think they're only allowing a certain amount of party together at a time.
Oh, that's probably good.
And then, of course, they extended the amount of times between films. I think it's 15 minutes between films to give them time to clean everything, and so I have high hopes for. I will say, somebody asked me or was telling me that how much they missed theaters, and that was sadly one of my biggest concerns when this all started happening. I said, man, I'm gonna horribly miss going to movies. We go to movies every week, and now that I haven't been to a theater in 4 months, 4.5 months, I realized I don't miss it as much. I miss seeing the movie. I don't miss going to the theater.
I see.
Like, I don't get me wrong. I love the experience. I hate the people at the theater. I hate people digging through their popcorn bags and shaking them next to you and doing this, trying to mix everything properly.
Oh, I'm feeling very attacked.
People chewing their gum and
still feeling attacked.
Looking at their watch and their cell phone while it's in their purse and trying to shuffle around with their blankets. And this all sounds like you.
I know. That's why I said I'm feeling very attacked.
I've gotten burned out on the theater experience because of the lack of respect people have in general.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, now it makes for great show content.
Yeah, of course. That's what we're missing.
Yeah. So.
But I mostly miss the experience of like getting my popcorn or going.
You miss the experience of spending $75.
I love the food, so like going to Alamo and getting my chips and queso, or the big old bowl of popcorn. I mean, that's what I miss. But I mean, I guess I can do it here.
I think there's also an excitement factor of, say, like when the new Star Wars movie comes out, and waiting in line and going and seeing with all the fans.
You see, I don't think we'll ever be able to do that again.
I think by the end of next year it'll probably be back. I mean, we'll be able to do that again because there's no Star Wars movies coming out.
I know, but I'm not going to be standing all up on top of somebody.
No,
it's like I need 6 feet, please.
But I think the what I've heard is when like things like Tenet finally hit, their plan is to open up multiple screens, a lot of screens with that one movie.
Yeah.
So it's going to make movies like that come out first are going to probably make a buttload of money because it's the only movie to see.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm hoping if Drain to Busan 2 is in theater somewhere, I'm going to go see it to support it.
Yeah.
They haven't sent me a link yet, but I've asked. But and I want you to see it, but you got to watch first Drain to Busan. But you know, Empire, I just want to watch because like you know. I'm usually against going to see a movie at the theater that I own. Yeah. Yeah, like we don't usually do dollar theaters much, and if we do, we watch stuff we haven't seen or we don't own. But it's Empire Strikes Back, and I'm like, why not go see it on the big screen again? And if I only pay 15 cents,
yeah, it'll be okay.
You know, so we'll probably be reactivating all of our Stubbs accounts this week or another week or so. So I'm excited to go back and then see. We're also fixing to turn part of this room into a theater.
Yeah, so we may not even need to go.
So if they, which I think for the foreseeable future is going to probably happen, there's going to be a lot of movies between this month and next month. Mulan, Bill and Ted 3, they're going to be coming straight to the pay-per-view early release, paying $30 or $20. And to me, the luxury of being able to eat at home, if I had the theater set up, have the surround sound system here, everything that we're hoping to have done, it's a bargain to pay $30 and sit here and watch it at home.
That's 2 tickets already.
And I don't know if we discussed it last week, but we did talk about the Mulan controversy. Yes. But I don't remember if we talked about the fact that we saw that they finally did come out and say that it will be on Disney Plus. Once you purchase it, it's there. Yeah. So at that case, I could rewatch it numerous times if I loved it. Yeah. You know, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I'm excited for that kind of stuff. And like I said, they've got some great options for bringing people back to the theaters, whether it's 15-cent day or not. But like they've got Empire Strikes Back, Karate Kid, Back to the Future, Jurassic Park. The theaters look like the 80s. Yeah. That's exactly what it looks like. If you look at the lineup, there's a few new ones like I think Bloodshot is there, Invisible Man.
Well, now this Russell Crowe thing's going to be out.
Yeah, Unhinged is going to be hitting at the limited theaters. Drive-ins are making a big comeback, which I think may be one of the big things that starts happening again. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, we're going back in time. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Don't forget to go to the contest page to win some free stuff. Thank you for watching us on YouTube and Facebook. We love you. You're awesome. Don't forget to find us on Instagram and the Twitter.
And join me tomorrow for another episode of Martial Arts Movie Monday where I will be doing a show. I know I was supposed to do part 2 of the Blood Fist franchise last week, but I had a Garbage Pail Kid deadline that I had to get finished, so it monopolized my week. But it's finished, so my time is open, and I've got the movies watched. I've got them sitting here ready, so I'll be doing the show tomorrow. And I even have next week's, week after next movies planned already, too. And then if we can get together and do TV Tuesday, we'll try to do it this week. But if not, we'll definitely be back for Hollywood Matrimony Live next Sunday, right here on the Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to both of them. Tell your friends, tell your family, Be nice. Wear your mask. Be respectful. Love one another. We'll get through this
and
together.
obviously, Vader says hi from down below.
Yes, Vader.
Thanks so much for watching.
Right.
I gotta get up.
Peace and love, children. Peace and love.
It's so far.
They saw your little short pants too.
It's okay.